Hi, it's Trace from KATZ Quilting. Welcome to our learning center. We are located in Rimbey, Alberta, Canada. We have been lucky enough to have 17 Tula pink butterfly quilts hanging in our learning center this weekend. It all started with the Tula pink butterfly pattern, which was printed in 2013. Tula pink made this amazing pattern. I've had it sitting in my stash for quite a while, about 5-6 years. Last September, I thought, geez, I want to make the butterfly quilt. I wonder if anybody else wants to join me. So we ended up with a group of 116 quilters, all making their own butterfly quilts. We've had over 40 finishes, which is a great accomplishment for a group when there's other things in life that get in the way. So I also understand that Tula Pink is releasing her Butterfly Quilt 2.0 version in the next little while. So watch for that at I Heart Tula Pink and follow Tula Pink online. So here is the butterfly quilt that I created using a whole bunch of out of print Tula Pink, some new line works. My daughter Courtney did the custom quilting. We added Juicy Juices Inferno to the border. We have Tula Pink Pinkerville on the back. And I'm just really happy with how that turned out. Our friend Tara Sinclair of Uh-Oh Creations, this is her design. We've got her flimsy here. She designed hers with Jennifer Sampu's ombre fabric. So she had one piece of fabric. She had 5.5 meters that ranged from this light blue to the really dark blue that you see here. And she designed all of this. She's a computer girl. She did a lot of work on her computer before. And this was her vision for the Tula Pink butterfly quilt using one fabric, an ombre fabric. So it's really unique. Our next quilt is by Lana Lacqua of Sylvan Lake. She had a lot of out-of-print Tula Pink in her stash, and she combined it all together, tied it with the Tula Pink Curiouser and Curiouser wide back. So that's a beautiful quilt, ready to be quilted. Dallas Jones from Red Deer, she designed her quilt with Ruby Star Speckled Fat Quarter Bundle. That was her inspiration. She has these beautiful iridescent butterflies. She loves gold print, so she's used that for her stripes and her borders. She grew her quilt. She is going to quilt hers with gold thread. The next quilt that we feature is Rosaline McIntosh, and she almost has like a moth-like feel to this. She started her butterfly body using brown velvet, and she's got a lot of silks and some really unique Dwebo, oriental kind of fabrics, a really nice soft feel. She's quilted her herself. She's finished it in the velvet border. The next quilt that we have, Tracy Colasino from Airdrie Carstairs area. Tracy loves batiks, so this is her whole quilt is done in batiks. I love how she created this border where the white drops in and goes up. It reaches up into the borders. She just got her long arm right before she finished, or right when she finished this quilt. So she has quilted this quilt. She's changed all her colors, threads. There's not a block in this quilt that hasn't been quilted. She has beautiful, beautiful, I call it graffiti quilting. She called it doodle quilting. She's got butterflies and birds and all sorts of things quilted into the background here. This quilt is by Robin Wardlow from Drayton Valley. And Robin used this piece of fabric that she bought a few years ago. She had it in her stash, and she used it for inspiration for her color pole for the whole quilt. So she's just an amazing way to design a quilt, is to pick one piece of fabric and then pull all of the stuff from your stash for that. So she's got a beautiful quilt here. Her friend Linda Oscar quilted it for her. She's got beautiful butterflies, flowers, and birds quilted in. Double batting. Another unique thing that she did is she's got her binding on to match the background fabric. So she's got the white here in her binding and then the border print there. So that's a really unique technique. Christine Willoughby is from the Drayton Valley area. She had bought her quilt kit quite a while ago. It dates back to Tula Pink Eden, so that'd be 5-6 years ago. I guess she had started a few of the blocks, but she used this quilt along or sew along as an opportunity to finish. So it's a beautiful quilt, butterfly quilt. Christine Willoughby, Drayton Valley. Denise Martineau is a very special quilting friend of ours from Fort McMurray, and she bought a kit from KATZ Quilting. She used the beautiful silver gray, the fairy dust in the background. She's got the starling border. She's got it quilted here. It's just a beautiful quilt. She's got some gorgeous backing on there too. So we thank her for allowing us to use that. We actually had quilt gloves here today. So this quilt is done by Nancy, who works in our shop, and Nancy chose to use a fat quarter bundle called Metamorphosis that had all these different butterfly prints in different sizes. She fussy cut them. She did a beautiful job of piecing this block. That's what was really lots of fun about this quilt, was all the different design elements and the fussy cutting that you could do. She chose to set hers in Juicy Juice's Spectrostatic Stellar in the black, which is just very, very showy. When it was time to add some borders, we had got this Andover rainbow sprinkle fabric, and so she'd put her borders on. It's just got a touch of color. It's a beautiful accent. She also used flange binding, where you use a two-colored binding. So that's a really nice technique and touch on that quilt also. This quilt over here is Monica Dent. She's from the Drayton Valley area, and you know, Monica had just started this quilt, and her granddaughter saw the fabrics and said, "What are you making?" And she showed her the butterfly pattern. She goes, "That's for me, right, Grandma?" So this is a quilt that she made for her granddaughter. I love how she used the wash of color this way, then she reversed the wash up the body. She's got that fairy dust here, and then she added piano key borders onto it. It's very effective. Great use of the leftover fabrics, and just makes a really pretty border. Linda Oscar designed this beautiful quilt. She bought a kit with purples and teals and blues. She added the green to it, and it is just stunning. It was a great design choice. She's quilted it herself. It's double batting. She designed a really unique border here. She's added sashing, and these are half square triangles with this beautiful border. And it's something really unique about a sew along. We always share pictures, we share techniques, we ask questions. She showed her quilt, and everybody goes, "Oh my goodness, I love that border. Do you mind if I use that?" It's one of the great things about a sew along. It's a community of quilting. We share ideas. This one is Deb Craig from Sundry, and she imagined a purple quilt, and she just captured it perfectly. She used purples from her stash. She went light to dark. This reminds me of parchment paper. It just seems so soft and delicate. She quilted it herself, and she used like an invisible thread. So you've got the texture there, but she doesn't have white thread on the purple or purple thread on the white. It's a really, really neat technique for quilting. She chose to add that special border at the top with the sashing. It's just a really pretty purple quilt. The next quilt is Betty Stretch, and she's from Calgary, and she used a lot of Tula Pink True Colors. She has quilter's linen pearl, which has just a beautiful pearl sheen to it on the background. Betty quilted this herself. I love her quilting panto and the density of her quilting. She added Allison Glass's trinket to the border, which adds just a pop of color but doesn't take away from the butterfly. She also chose to do her binding in striped bias binding, and where you see blue in the quilt, her binding is blue. Where you see green, she's changed the color of her binding to green, red to purple. So she's changed her binding to match the center of the quilt going all the way around. Another beautiful quilt that we have here is by Cora Spelt of Rimbey. Cora loves batiks. She picked some batiks with some really intense, rich, saturated colors. She's got a beautiful example of like a color wheel up here. She's got the rainbow of color going here. She's chose to do that special border with all of the batiks in there, and she quilted this herself on her own long arm. She put this great big quilt on. This is one of the first quilts she ever did on her long arm after she got it. So it's a beautiful quilt. This quilt is from Malene from Calgary. Malene loves purple. She's got purple backing, purple binding, and lots of purple in her butterfly. She chose blue and green, a little bit of pink as accent. She also chose to add some little antennas here, which are really cool, and her friend Terry Rowland did some quilting around there to emphasize the beautiful antenna feature on her quilt. This quilt is Courtney Whitehead. She works here at the shop. Courtney she recolored the Tula Pink pattern into Electric Quilt 8. She pulled in Tula Pink's True Color fabrics and kind of built this before she even started sewing. So she had a really good idea of what she was going to do. She loved the cotton candy fairy dust. She's added the orange borders top and bottom. She has beautiful ruby star on the back. So yeah, we had 17 quilts this week. We had lots of visitors. We did it by appointment. We feel like we had a great opportunity for people to gather in a very safe way. These videos are here, and there's a few posts on Facebook, and we will actually put this link onto our website. So thanks for joining us. Have a great day.